Welcome to Starting Your Shift Off Right. In this presentation, we will cover tips to help you get your workday off to a good start. As you start your shift, use your ID badge to swipe the card reader and enter the building. The ID badge allows entry into the building and other secured areas as needed. Bellisio is committed to assuring the safety and security of its employees, visitors, and property by allowing only authorized personnel to have access to the plant. Therefore, each person needs to swipe the card reader separately using his or her own badge. You are not permitted to allow access to the plant to anyone who does not have an ID badge. In addition, do not permit access to anyone whose badge does not work. Please report any improper or suspicious activity to your supervisor. If you lose your badge, you will not be permitted into this entrance and will need to get your badge replaced by reporting to your supervisor or to the front office. Which of the following statements are true? Each person needs to swipe the card reader separately using his or her own badge. You should not allow entrance to anyone who does not have proper identification. Report suspicious behavior to your supervisor. All of these are true. As you enter the break room, you may store your lunch in the refrigerator or on the shelf. No glass is allowed in the facility, so leave all glass containers at home. Where should you store your lunch? Break room, locker, car, your pocket. Let's take another look. The break room is where you store your lunch, either on the shelf or in the refrigerator. Where can you store your lunch? Locker, car, break room, refrigerator, or shelf. Now you're ready to clock in. First, a reminder of the importance of being on time. We define on time as being at your workstation on or before your scheduled start time. You are permitted to clock in up to 7 minutes before your start time, which gives you time to dress and prepare for work. So, for example, if your shift starts at 7:50 a.m., you should clock in no earlier than 7:43, get prepared, and be at your workstation by 7:50. It's also important to clock into the correct department and production line each day. Please refer to your schedule to determine what line you should clock into. And refer to the information sheet that lists the department and line numbers. When should you clock into work? Exactly at your starting time, 5 minutes after your starting time, up to 7 minutes before your starting time, 10 minutes before your starting time. Next, obtain your frock or uniform. White garments are for food contact areas, and blue garments are for non-food contact work. A reference guide to uniforms and hairnets is available here. Which statement is correct? Blue for boys, red for girls. White for food contact areas. Blue for non-food contact areas. Both 2 and 3. Let's look at this again. The reference guide shows what garments to wear in each location. White garments are for food contact areas, and blue garments are for non-food contact work. What is the correct color of the garment to wear in food contact areas? White? Blue? It doesn't matter. Now take the items you've just gathered, along with any personal belongings, except your lunch, into the locker room. Here you can store your personal belongings, such as your cell phone, in your locker, and use the restroom if needed. This is also where you'll change into your uniform or frock. Please note the following locker room policies. These are not allowed in lockers. Food, beverages, including alcoholic beverages, weapons, soiled clothing or soiled boots, company property except clean boots, any kind of glass, and non-prescription controlled substances. Prescription medications are permitted to be stored in your locker if you first obtain approval from HR. The meds are in their original labeled and sealed container, and the locker is locked. What is not allowed in your locker? Food and beverages, weapons and glass, non-prescription controlled substances, all of the above. To ensure the safety of your personal belongings, please keep them appropriately stored away, and vehicles locked at all times. Bellisio does not accept responsibility for damage, loss, or theft of personal property, including vehicles. If you lose anything on company premises, report the loss to your supervisor and to Human Resources so the item can be returned if found. We encourage all employees to bring and use a lock, and keep your valuables at home or in your locked car. We recommend using a combination lock. Which of the statements are true? Prescription medications are allowed in your locker if you first obtain approval from HR, the meds are in their original labeled and sealed container, the locker is locked, All of the above must be done in order to store prescription medications in your locker. Let's look at this again. Prescription medications are permitted to be stored in your locker if you first obtain approval from HR, the meds are in their original labeled and sealed container, and the locker is locked. Which of the following are required to store prescription medications in your locker? Obtain approval from HR. The meds must be in their original labeled and sealed container. Your locker is locked. All of the above must be done in order to store prescription medications in your locker. Now we're about ready to enter the plant floor. Because it's important to practice good GMP and protect the food with which you'll be working, before you leave the locker room, make sure you've donned your uniform or frock and your hairnet and any required beard restraint. For your own personal safety, insert your earplugs and wear slip-resistant shoes. Here are some other things you can do to dress for success. Wear socks. Tuck in hoodies. They should be worn under your uniform or frock. For food safety reasons, the following are not allowed in the plant: sweatpants, leggings, jewelry, piercings including tongue piercings, false eyelashes and false fingernails, beading on clothing, any type of clothing that could shed into the food, holes in clothing, and cell phones. Please note that personal cell phones are permitted in 3 designated areas of the plant: front office, break room, and locker room. Personal cell phones are strictly prohibited in plant and production areas due to GMP and personal safety policies. Possession of a cell phone in a restricted area is grounds for disciplinary action up to and including dismissal. Finally, wash your hands for 20 seconds. Okay, you're all set to go. Why are there guidelines on what items should and should not be on the plant floor? For food safety and personal safety reasons. So they don't get lost. Because we want to spoil your fun. Let's review some of the main points we've covered. To maintain security, each employee needs to swipe the card reader separately using his or her own badge. Never let unauthorized persons enter the facility. Arrive on time and clock in within 7 minutes before you are to be at your workstation. Clock into the correct department and production line. Wear the correct work garments and PPE to ensure food safety and personal safety. Store personal items in your locker, but keep valuables or unauthorized items at home or in your locked car. Dress for success, and wash your hands. Thank you for attending our Starting Your Shift Off Right session today.